Hey everyone, this one's going to be a little bit shorter than usual. This is Juvenile Stacks here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about another job experience, or another job story, I should say. This one, though, is going to be me talking about subsequently how I used to work at an after school care and a summer camp. They were both the same thing, just depending on what time of the year. And during that summer, or during summertime, your boy, Coach Juvie, as it were, would have to hang out with a bunch of kids from all ages. Dude, I was right out of high school, just hanging out, basically playing video games with the kids at the same time, or going out and playing kickball and stuff, depending on what we were doing and what time of the year it was. But I would say that I was probably 19, right? But the year before I went out and moved out to California and did some stuff with some performing arts group stuff. I'll have to talk to you guys about that in another video here soon, I think. But I had this group of kids that was just awful. There was probably 5 or 6 of them that were just little fucking hellions, every single one of them. And they were the older kids, of course, and because of that, they'd been there for a while, and they just felt like they were big shit, and that they didn't have to listen and anything like that, which is cool, I get it. Well, another thing about being one of the older kids there is that there are some benefits and privileges, and one of those is that with your parents' permission, you got the opportunity to go play paintball, right? And we love this time of the year. All the dudes would like to go do that, and all the other kids went and did stuff with basically everyone who didn't want to go get shot up in a paintball. Well, all these kids went, and the entire week before they went, they all were coming up to me and other people going, "Hey, are you going paintballing?" And I go, "Of course I was." And these kids, being little shit asses, will come up and go, "Oh, I can't wait to shoot you." I was so excited. You have no idea. Even if I thought that I was going to get taken down by these kids, I was most definitely going to get a couple shots in as I did. And how often do you get to legally shoot a kid and not get in trouble for it? Yeah, exactly. So, it's the day of the event, and all these kids are so excited, so am I. I'm just buzzing with activity. And we get out and we do a couple rounds, but then they decided they want to do a couple rounds where the kids went up against the coaches. At this time, basically the entire time we had just kind of mingled with them and had different groups and whatnot. But we decided we wanted to try that too, and there was altogether probably 15 or 16 of the kids versus I think 7 or 8 of us adults. Maybe it was probably something closer to that. We had to keep a pretty close ratio of kids to adults. But I live out in the middle of nowhere in the countryside, and in doing so, I have learned a lot. And I've actually hunted. I've done a bunch of stuff. I own guns. I tranced through the woods and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I am very comfortable in moving through a wooded environment. And this area we were in was set up in a woods area, but they had little plywood houses that were probably 10 by 7 and 10 by 12, different sizes that had a gravel flooring, and there were little holes, but there were also windows, but there were also cracks that were slivers made by someone. It could have been made by the weathering of time and whatnot, but I think that people probably broke those out to put the barrel of their gun through. So I'm off by myself, and I am being as silent as possible because I don't want these kids to hear me. And as I'm getting into one of the buildings, I happen to hear a bunch of steps going on, and I am so excited. I look through a crack, and I see that these kids are all in a line, guys. These little fuckers are all in a line, and I, being so excited, put my barrel of my paintball gun through that little crack and just went, ah, and destroyed on that bitch. Oh my god. I got, out of those kids, I think I got 7 of these, again, 12 or 14, something like that, kids. And I also got to rub it in the faces of the other coaches that I was the one that got to shoot all those kids. Nobody else got to do that. That was what I got to do. And it was really awesome because there were a bunch of other more athletic coaches out there and whatnot, but I got to be the one, even though I'm a big fat kid, I got to be the one to go and just actually shoot those kids. Man, it was so much fun. And again, how often do you get that chance? Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this little weird story about another time when I worked in a different place. If you guys have any questions or comments about this, just hit me up. I don't, I'll read and respond to as many as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could give this a rate, comment, subscribe, I would be so thankful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.